And on TikTok, as always, the double live. We're gonna start just doing the YouTube live at some point, but I'm just not getting enough viewers to justify it. Yo, what's up, Brody? Hey, Rose, how are you? I'm doing live, man. What's up, bro? What's up with you, man? How you doing? Just starting. By the way, like we're gonna be doing lives every day at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's like the thing now. And if you miss a live, if you want to watch a live, you're currently in Malaysia. Where are you in Malaysia? Where are you at, yo? I'm in Asuncion, Paraguay right now. That's where I'm at. Chilling in Paraguay. Penang. Nice. I've only been to Kuala Lumpur, but I loved Kuala Lumpur. I want to spend more time in Malaysia, to be honest. Malaysia is a really dope country. Somebody asked in the YouTube chat, is Asuncion still good for dating or will it become Medellin in a year? It's going to be a while before it becomes Medellin, but Asuncion's already getting really expensive. And the dollar in general is becoming very weak against Latin American currencies as a whole. So you're not going to be getting a lot of value from traveling to Latin America the way that you would have like 3 or 4 years ago. Did this person literally just like ask a question and then dip? Is that what you did, bro? Did you just do a drive-by question? That's weird. All right, let's do this. They're also food. Malaysia is I would say it's one of the best food countries in the world. I'll say this about the food in Malaysia. Here, I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna make a video about this. So no, not here. So Malaysia. So the thing that makes Malaysia one of the best food countries in the world for me is not just the quality of the food. Like the quality of the food is good, but like that's not it. The thing is that like once you travel enough, like you don't really care that much about the authenticity of the food. Like you start to realize that most countries, like Thai food in Thailand is not that much better than Thai food in America. Like obviously, if you're getting Thai food in like Nebraska, it's not gonna be that good. But if you get Thai food in New York City, it's not gonna be that much worse than Thai food in Thailand. Or I would even argue it might even be better than Thai food in Thailand. There are only a couple countries that the food is actually that much better in the home country, and that is Japan, India, Vietnam, I think, is also on that list. But anyway, all that to say that like there are very few countries where like you really need to go there for the food quality. And like what I care about more nowadays is not how good the food is, but how interesting the food is. How interesting of a food experience is it? I feel so pretentious saying this, but like that's the thing. Like it's like something new, something you haven't experienced before. And so Malaysia, the great thing about food in Malaysia is that Malaysia is basically three ethnic groups in one. You have the indigenous Malays, you have a lot of Chinese people in Malaysia, and then you also have a huge Indian population in Asia. And so every food that you have is a mix between those three cuisines. It's like it's like a triangle, and every dish, every restaurant you go to is somewhere on that triangle. And so every meal you have is just very different. What will be better 1 year from now, in your opinion? Goania, Asuncion, or Cordoba? Probably Goania because people that's not even on the radar yet, really, of people. Um, dude, I want what I gotta do, dude. I'm into Mexicans though. You want a Latina, bro? There's a book here called How to Find Your Latina Wife. If you want a Latina, just go buy the book. I literally sat down and wrote a book for you to go find the Latina. Dude habla español. You want to say hablo español. You bought the book. Oh no, I was talking to that guy, but I appreciate you buying the book. When you say Venezuela we can't cook, we can. Dude, I'm sorry. Venezuelan women just like can't they can't cook. Colombian women can't cook either. Like I'm sorry. You're not a cooking country. You're not a cooking culture. Like the cooking cultures in Latin America are Peru and Mexico. I've heard Bolivia is good. I'm going to Bolivia in 2 months. I'm excited for Bolivia. Brazil is like a it's not the same. It is kind of similar, but it's not the same. But no, Venezuelans can't cook. Hey, bro. I've also been to Cebu City. Okay. Um, how many countries have I been to? Honestly, like I really hate when people ask that question. It's such a silly question. Just because like I've talked to people who like who have been to like 150 countries, and they will so confidently be like, yeah, I've been to Brazil. Ask me any question about Brazil. And then like my first question is, okay, how long have you spent in Brazil? And they'll be like 2 days. And I'm like, Brazil is half a continent. You spend 2 days in Rio. And by the way, if you spend 2 days in Rio, like if you spend a week in a country, right? You're not spending a week in that country. You are spending 5 days in that country because you have 2 travel days, which people always count, right? So like if you're in Vietnam from Sunday to Saturday, and then you're from Laos from Saturday to Saturday, you're counting that Saturday for both countries. But you can't actually have been in two countries, like that's not actually a day in both countries, right? Anyway, so people just will go to a country for like a minute and then claim that they've been to that country. And I just don't find it interesting. Now, if somebody's been traveling for 30 years and they've legitimately been to like 100 countries and have spent like at least 2 weeks in 100 countries, that's someone I'm interested in. But even 2 weeks in Brazil, like if you like, you can't tell me that you understand Brazil after 2 weeks. You can't tell me that you understand Colombia after 2 weeks, or even Paraguay. Like it takes a lot of time to understand a country and really feel what it's like to live in that country. And so that's why I think it's silly when people are like, how many countries have you been to? It's like if you are the type of person who travels in that type of way, even the type of person who travels in the type of way of trying to go to as many countries as possible, I'm sorry, you actually haven't really been to any countries. You really haven't. Because what you do when you travel in that way is you touch down, you take an airport to your hotel, you have a list of famous sites that you go see, and then you take an Uber to all of those famous sites for 3 days, and then you go from famous old building to famous old building, and then you go to like 3 or 4 highly touristic restaurants, which by the way, I've been to all of those restaurants, those like famous restaurants, they all suck. They're all terrible. Like me and my wife, we went to the pyramids 2 weeks ago, and we were like eating, literally like you can see the pyramids in the background. And it's like a famous restaurant. It was fucking terrible. It was horrible food. So you have people who do that, who that's the only Egyptian restaurant they've been to. And then they spend 3 days doing this basically scavenger hunt around Cairo. And then they tell you that they've been to Egypt. And like, no, they haven't. They haven't been to Egypt in a real capacity. They haven't left the United States in a real capacity. You've just been shuttled around in Ubers between different monuments. That's not traveling. So that's my rant about it, bro. Like, I really think it's a stupid question to ask how many countries somebody has been to. If you want to find a good Colombiana woman, go to a small city in Colombia, not one tourist spot. 100%. Um, I got some fucking people who are messaging me. Um, Middle East woman, I did same like you. I don't know what that means. I mean, we're not like that, but we all cook here very well. Go to Venezuela, Mama Abuela's house. Miranda, my wife is Venezuelan, born and raised. Spent 24 years in Venezuela. Her mom spent 68 years in Venezuela. I've had Venezuelan food. It's not good. Hey, Paulito. Hey, man. Appreciate the gift. Right now, it's too dangerous. Yeah, you should not be going to Venezuela. DVW. Hey, bro. I'm a passport, bro. But I went to the Middle East. Yeah, man. Like that's a good place. Um, is Mendoza or Cordoba better? I mean, they're different cities. Um, Most people prefer Mendoza. Where should I stay in Asuncion? That's a good question. I'm in Villamora right now. I'm technically in Recoleta, but I'm in like the Villamora era. I think that you should stay in Recoleta. Recoleta is a good area, or Recoleta. I don't know what that means. Nice to see you live. Nice to see you, bro. I'm gonna be live every day from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys want to hop on these lives, I'll be doing this every day. So please hop on. I'm doing this to promote the book, by the way. That's the push. I've sold 20 copies so far. I wish I sold more, but my fans are cheap as fuck. My fans can spend $1,000 on a plane ticket, but can't spend $10 on a book to help you save thousands of dollars on travel. Beats me. I don't know, but anyone been to Cabo? Going to Cabo is not traveling, so that's not. We're not talking about that on a travel live. You see Miss Chili. No. Lebanese food is good in Latam. Yeah, a lot of Brazilian food is from Lebanon, actually. What's it? And that's like a Middle Eastern food. Um, Thoughts on Viña del Mar? Viña del Mar gets this incredible hype to it. I don't understand it. Like, let's just say this: that like I've talked to about Vina Del Mar. So I've gotten to this place now where like I can kind of guess what a place will be like pretty accurately. And I'll talk to people who have been there or spent time there, and I'll ask them. They'd be like, "Yeah, you've hit it right on the nose." And that's what's happened to me with Vina Del Mar. So I'll tell you what people have confirmed to me is true about Vina Del Mar is that the Pacific Ocean in South America is horrible. It is the worst coast on Earth. The Atlantic Ocean in Latin America is incredible. The Atlantic Ocean is like the best. It's a tale of two oceans. It's the best of oceans and it's the worst of oceans. The Atlantic coast in Latin America, specifically Brazil, is the most beautiful coastline on planet Earth, I believe. But the Pacific is disgusting. It's disgusting. It's horrible. It's rocky. It's shitty. So like that's the problem with Vina Del Mar. But there are a lot of hipsters there, so people like it for some reason. Um, Probably La Paz is where I'm staying in Bolivia. I don't think people read much these days. Yeah, but I mean they do. Like people go on Twitter, and what are they doing on Twitter all day? You know, everyone's cheap right now. Economy's super rough. Yeah, I mean I don't really buy that excuse though, to be honest with you. Just because like it's $10. You know what I mean? Like a Chipotle slot bowl is like $25. You know what I mean? And so if you're in a situation where you're like, hey, I can't afford this, first of all, I don't really believe you because you're probably spending that money on slot bowls. But two, like buying this book and traveling abroad is going to save you a lot more money than the money that you're spending right now. I mean, think about the life that I'm sure a lot of people who are seeing my content are living. You're living in America. You're probably living with like 2 or 3 roommates in a major city or something, right? You're barely able to scrape by because rent is through the roof. You're paying 25 bucks for a fucking sandwich, right? Everything's unaffordable and like women suck and you have all that type of bullshit, right? Okay, this is a book to help you solve all of those problems. And by the way, you will be able to save a whole lot more money because you'll be living in a foreign country where you'll be able to have your own apartment and be spending less money and have like a nice pretty apartment. Okay? That's what this book is going to help you get, right? And if anything, like the value of reading the book, for if nothing else, the value of reading the book is spending the time reading the fucking book and being like, damn, I really should do this shit, right? If anything, it's just going to motivate you. And if all it does is just motivate you to go out and do it, that is enough, right? So like if someone's sitting here and telling me, "Hey man, I completely agree with you. Like this book, could probably change my life." If for no other reason than just buying this book is going to help me is going to help motivate me to go out, get off my ass and go see the world, go have sex with a lot of really hot women, go live a higher quality lifestyle for less money, like all of these things, but 9.99 is too much. It's like I actually don't believe you. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to attack you, Jack. I'm just saying like that's not compelling to me. You know what I mean? And here, I'll even do this. If you don't want to buy the book for that $10, fine. Just take $10, tear it up and throw it away just to show yourself how bullshit that excuse is. So you don't have to give it to me. Just throw it away because if you actually believe that $10 is the thing that's stopping you from living a life that you do not enjoy and living a life that you want, first time here, what are we talking about? Awesome. We're getting more like organic YouTube viewers. I appreciate that. So, Sir Him, I am a primarily a TikToker, but I'm now doing some YouTube stuff. I talk about traveling abroad, and I'm answering questions both from like TikTok live and this YouTube live about travel, about meeting girls abroad, and about a book that I wrote as well. I got to put the book in my YouTube bio, by the way. Anyway, so we'll also be aware that most of the audience is not actually doing the traveling right now. No, 100%, Jack. But like that's what I'm saying though. I'm saying that like if you are not doing the traveling, you need this book more than anybody. And again, like you don't even need the book to know what to do. You need the book to get motivated to get off your ass and start doing it. Right? That's the base. That's what you actually need the book for, right? You're right. Like if you're sitting at home, you don't need the book. You don't need to know the specific things on how to like argue with a Latina. That doesn't matter to you at all. But what you do need to do is you need to sit down and make a decision and say, this is what I want. I am going to go and make this happen. And the first step to me doing this is the tiny little step of buying the book. That's that's the thing that you need. And then we can talk about the logistics of how to save money on a flight going to Asuncion, right? And like we can sit down on that and I can save you hundreds of dollars very easily, and that's easy, right? But the most important thing and the thing that most people struggle with, and it's actually the thing that I build my content for, is the step of yes, I'm going to do this. Anyway, are Argentinian women loyal? No. No, they're not loyal. I wanted to make this video, but I was afraid it was gonna get flagged. But I was gonna make a video of like least loyal Latinas by country, and like number one is obviously Brazilian women are the least loyal. Number two are Argentinian women. Number three is Colombianas. I was planning on staying in Las Lomas, close to Shopping del Sol in Asuncion. Yeah, I mean, staying in Las Lomas in Asuncion is like staying in like El Poblado in Medellin or Copacabana in Rio de Janeiro. Like you shouldn't be going there. Is it worth to get residency to Paraguay to pay 0% taxes? It's worth to get residency in Paraguay because it's a great place to live. But yeah, you don't want to go to Las Lomas, man. You're literally just be surrounded by gringos. I don't fucking understand this. I don't understand, and I don't mean to be attacking you. I'm talking about the people who recommended Las Lomas to you. I don't understand people who go to a foreign country to be surrounded by Americans. Like, why do you do that? Why are you going to Medellin to be surrounded by Americans? Why are you going to Rio? Why are you going to Brazil to be surrounded by Americans? Aren't you surrounded by Americans enough in America? Don't you want to get out of the country to meet people who are not of the place that you're from? I'm in a place right now where I get violently upset when I'm out and I hear English. I'm like, we're leaving wherever I am. If English is being spoken, no, I'm out. Is Las Lomas good? No, it's not. I bought the fucker reading it now. Thanks, man. John, I love Latinas. Yeah, man. Who doesn't? Where have all the Venezuelan girls gone? It's about $10. In a bad economy, people are drastically more spending averse. When's my book about India coming out? As I've been saying, I've been doing a live a day to promote this book. Hopefully, we can get at least like 3 or 4 fucking purchases from this live. Like that would be nice. But my first live, this fucking Indian came in. It was just arguing with me about India, and I just went off. I made an anti-India video, but I might just turn this into an anti-India account. Like, I hate India. Is Buenos Aires the best spot to meet women in Argentina? No, it is the worst spot to meet women in Argentina. You are incorrect. Why do you think Asuncion has become more expensive? Well, part of it, I've only grocery pricing or other things. Me and my wife haven't really gone out to eat yet. We're both trying to become healthier. Yo voy a comer más tarde. Muchas gracias. She just made dinner. Baby, parece mucha linda. Oh.
Enseña tu comida a la gente.
Muchas gracias. No, yo voy a comer más tarde. ¿Cuándo yo finito?
¿No las quieres mostrar?
Okay, my wife wants to show. I was just talking. We're eating more healthy. So this is chicken, broccoli, carrots, and potatoes she made for me. So we're eating healthier. So we haven't really eaten out. But on Sundays now, is my piece of shit day. I am taking advantage of my piece of shit day on Sundays. I literally all day Sunday, I'm just gonna be. This is what happened last Sunday. This is gonna be happening next Sunday. This is happening every Sunday. I'm gonna be sitting in front of a TV, eating Popeyes and playing FIFA. Like, that's just happening. Anyway, why do you think it's become more expensive? First of all, Trump has been devaluing the currency like crazy. Other Asian countries have been devaluing their currency more, but Latin American countries have not been doing that. So our currency has been going down. So when I left Paraguay, it was about like a 1.25 to 1 exchange ratio. So $100 is a million guaraníes is about $125. Now it's $150, which is a drastic increase. And then 2, you just have a lot of digital nomads moving down here, and that obviously increases the price. Are Bolivian girls cute? I don't really know, man. You should post on YouTube. So this is actually an interesting question that I'm gonna talk about for a second. Is that so? My main goal right now is to make enough money that I can start doing this full time. I still have a full-time job, and one of the main reasons why is because I don't have the mental bandwidth to grow an account on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram at the same time. They are very different algorithms that reward very different types of content. And I do some cross posting, but I don't do enough. And so because of that, like I can't spend the time on these other platforms that I really need to. So one of my big goals once I quit my job is going to be like building out YouTube, building out Instagram, building out X, and building out my Substack. So you guys buying this book is contributing to that. What areas do digital nomads stay in Asuncion? Las Lomas, and that's basically it. Just my 2 cents. Just not arguing. Yeah, no, I mean, Jack, I apologize. I think I was if Jack's still here, man. I apologize. I think I was a little confrontational. I was more just like arguing against the idea of like what a lot of people are thinking. But no, you were very respectful, dude. I apologize for like if it seems like I was coming at you. Are Venezuelan women loyal? They're probably the most loyal in Latin America. There are a lot of like cultural reasons why I then get into later. Where's the best place in South America to meet transgenders? Find Jesus. Argentinian women are baddies. That's why they are baddies. That's why they're not really loyal. Least loyal video will get you a lot of hate. It really will, man. Why Argentina number two? Because Argentinian women like are not loyal. Like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, when it comes to cheating, Argentinian women are kind of like Charles Barkley. You know what I mean? It's like he was or like they're kind of like Hakeem. Like if Michael Jordan had never come around, Hakeem would have won like 7 titles. But Michael Jordan did come. You know what I mean? And that's kind of Argentinian women and like cheating on their husbands is that like if there was never have been Brazilian women, then like yes, they would be, but they are. So that's why. Yeah, dude, there are way too many gringos in San Jose. I mean, there are too many. There are too many. Like, I wouldn't even say there are too many gringos in Costa Rica because it's kind of like saying there's too many toddlers in Disneyland. Like, that's what it's built for. You know what I mean? Costa Rica. I get some flack when I say this, but Costa Rica is not a real country. Like, you look at the population numbers of Costa Rica in like 1970, it was like 50,000 people. Your population of Costa Rica in 1970. Oh, sorry. It was like 1.8 million, but that's still tiny. I was thinking about like specific cities. Like Costa Rica doesn't really have like a long-standing culture. It's basically been created as like an agricultural hub and for tourism. Oh yeah, so Costa Rica's population in 1900 was 300,000. It's not a real. Yeah, 50K is about the same as Vintage Greenland now. It's not a real place. It's really built for tourism, and most people that you meet in Costa Rica are transplants from other places. Paraguay is getting trust for the tourists. I've made too many videos about Paraguay. I'm gonna learn from this, and I'm gonna like not do that about my next place. She's from Venezuela. Tunisia is a great place to pick up women. I don't deny that. Let me see. I'm gonna start speeding through these comments so I can get. I've been cheated by many Latino men as a Latina. Which country has loyal guys? That's funny. My wife, she had one boyfriend before me, and he was Venezuelan, and he cheated on her. That's what Latinos do. I mean, this is the thing. Like I've said this many times, and by the way, I have a whole chapter about this and how to find your Latina wife. So go buy the book. Is that like people think that Latinas are only into gringos because of like our money and stuff, which is like not actually true. The main reason why Latinas are into gringos is exactly that comment that Miranda just made. And by the way, Miranda, I appreciate you being here. Is that like Latino men, they have a lot of positives, but they also have a lot of negatives. Like most cultures have positives and negatives. There are a lot of Latinas who are just sick of Latino men who cheat on them, who are very misogynistic. A lot of them aren't particularly industrious. A lot of them don't really spend time with their family. And so you as an American look at like a bland white guy, you're like, why would a Latino want this over a Latino? And a Latina looks at a bland white guy and they're like, wow, you mean a guy who's stable, who provides for the family, who like won't cheat on me, who'll spend time with my kids? Like that's literally what they're looking for. And Miranda, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not saying every Latina is looking for this. I'm saying there's a huge contingent who are. What's your full time job? I'm a sales rep. How can I DM you? Just DM me, bro. But I just want to say, like, I have a huge filter on my DMs now. People don't realize I get like 30 DMs a day. So if I don't respond, you haven't come to me with any value of me responding to you. The best way, if you want to hack getting me to respond to a DM from you right now, is literally just order my book. Like, if you order my book and you can talk about a specific thing from a specific chapter, so I actually know that you read it and you bought it, like I'll probably respond to you because that's like my number one priority. And that's actually like a good, just like general tip in life is that like if you want people to respond to you, lead with value of things that they care about. There's so many people who DM me with like requests for me to plan a vacation for them. And I'm just like, fuck you. I'm not doing that. But there are people who DM me. I don't know if they have bought it or not, but they're like, hey, I just bought your book. It's great. Yada, yada, yada. Can I ask you this question? And because my main focus in life, as you can tell from my videos, my main focus in life right now is selling this book. By the way, you can order it now, link in bio. Like, I'm flattered by it and I will respond to those. So, just a little hint, like a little life hint. By the way, we now have 7 consecutive viewers on my YouTube. This is the most I've had on my YouTube at one given time. Yo, thanks everyone for tuning in. One's in the chat. Can I just get some ones in this YouTube chat? Not in the TikTok chat. It's gonna flood. I got a lot of you here, but one's in the chat in the YouTube chat if you don't mind. I just want like a show of force. Is Uruguay expensive? Yeah, it's pretty expensive. No, Venezuelan women are not like Colombian women. The big difference between Venezuelan women and Colombian women is that basically Colombian women have had American culture shoved down their throat for the past 50 years, while Venezuela has been pretty insular. Yo, I got a one in the chat. Yeah, what up? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And so because like it is kind of the double-edged sword of communism, of like socialism, is that the culture has been pretty insular. So Venezuela is still a pretty conservative Catholic country, while Colombia, is not. So that's like the big difference between Venezuelan women and Colombian women. It's that like for Venezuelan women, a lot of them still won't sleep with men before marriage, yada yada yada. So Sir Him said Colombia is a former narco state. That culture is very different. Exactly. My girlfriend is Chilean. She's from Valparaiso. She's a loyal conservative baddie. Yeah, I mean that's the funny thing about Chile is that Chile, and you can see this in like their electoral. So someone asked, should we travel to Venezuela as soon as the situation gets good there? I'm happy that this person asked the question this way because people have been asking me, should I go to travel to Venezuela now? And the answer to that is fuck no. Should you travel to Venezuela once the situation gets good? Me and my wife are planning on going there 6 months after Maduro leaves. So I would give yourself about a 6 to 9 month buffer, but then you should be able to go. But yeah, Chile's funny because like Chileans are either fascists or communists. Like there's no in between. And you look at their politics. They literally have like communist, fascist, communist. They don't have any political moderates in Chile, which I think is interesting. But yeah, so if you're from Valparaiso, she's probably conservative. Okay, I'm gonna skip a lot of the questions. So I got like 43 new messages. So I'm gonna I'm gonna skip a lot of these. Sorry. If you have a really important question, feel free to. I usually get really angry when people like ask the same question twice, but like I'm I'm gonna give you guys a pass now. You guys can like ask a question a second time now if it's like really important to you. Boss, where in the UK do I go? If you're in the UK, if you want to go to the UK, I have a great place for you to go. It's called Heathrow Airport. Go to a ticket counter, um, buy a plane ticket, and go literally anywhere else in the world. Literally anywhere else in the world, including North Korea. I'd rather live than in England right now. Where will you be staying in the next 3 months? Just La Paz or other places? So in December and January, she's Latina, she's Venezuelan. In January and in December and January, we're living in Paraguay. Our tentative plan is to either go to Bolivia or go to Argentina in February. Man, we want you in Lebanon. Come on, we'll take care of you, bro. Bro, if I was single and I could travel as much as I wanted to, I would be on the next plane to Lebanon. I would love to go to Lebanon, but it's kind of hard for me to actually travel now. We just did a 9 month trip around the world, and I sadly wasn't able to go to Lebanon, but I do hope to go there soon. And like if I do, I'll let you know. Can you go to Cordoba and then tell us how it was in February? Actually, Cordoba is where we're planning on going in Argentina. So yes. Should I act more Latino or more white in Medellin? You should act white by going to the airport and buying a plane ticket to literally anywhere else in the world except for London. Personally, I prefer Latino men because of cultural reasons, but it's truly a hit or miss with Latinos. That's true. Is ageism a thing in Latin America? I'm 50. Not really, dude. I mean, like, obviously you're gonna get some of it, but there's a contingent of women who are interested in older men. And so it's always good to be someone's fetish. You know what I mean? It's always good to like not necessarily be exactly, in the middle. Oh shit. Um, oh shit. Um, Okay, give me 1 second. Hey, sorry, I got pull. Okay. Do the Dylan. So tomorrow morning. Anyway, anyway. Yeah, I mean they're great Latinos. I'd buy your book. It's saving lives. Thanks, man. Right over here, link in bio. Yeah, I mean you consume American media, sure, but you're not like going not as much as Colombia. Have I been to Peru? Yeah, no, I love Peru. I've been to Lima. Lima, I spent a month there. It's one of my favorite cities on planet Earth. I would 100% like settle down and live in Lima. Someone asked, should you just avoid Medellin and Colombia or avoid Colombia as a whole? Mainly Medellin, you should avoid. I would be cautious about Cartagena, but I'm actually coming out with a video about Cartagena this weekend with a friend of mine who like really knows Cartagena. But just Medellin, you should avoid. How do I find an African wife? I don't know, dude. What if Maduro never leaves? Then we're never gonna move to Venezuela. Looks wise. What is better, Colombia or Venezuela? I Come on, man. My wife is Venezuelan. Do you really think I'm answering that question with anything else but Venezuela? Let me see. Buy the book is great. Thanks, man. Whew, guy's book is crazy cheap for the info. Let's support our bro. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. This is my first like book that I've published like this. So I apologize, and I didn't have an editor, so I apologize if it doesn't have any information you guys are looking for. But I really try to do three things. I try to like give so if someone complained about this to me today, I think it's fair, but I try to give like the reason why you want to leave America for Latin America. And then that was like the first three chapters. And then after that, I basically do a breakdown of like specific information you need to know. And then I also do like personal anecdotes and stories from my travels as well, so that you guys can like learn from my mistakes and learn from like what I did wrong. Because I think that like it's hard to give like a list of advice. It's a lot easier to like tell a story and have you learn lessons from it. So I do both of those. Haven't been to Peru. I answered the question, man. I've been to Peru. I spent a month in Miraflores. It's amazing. I highly recommend everybody go to Miraflores. I would honestly live in Miraflores if I could. I can actually. We might move to Miraflores. How can I find a job as a sales rep to become a digital nomad? To be honest, man, like I hate to like shoot down this question because I understand a lot of people are asking. I've been out of earnest interest, but I had a partnership with a program to help train people to become sales reps, and I've sent that program now like 100 different people to talk to them. And I vetted this program. I've seen a lot of the programs out there. They're like 20 different programs out there. I've vetted all of them. Yes, these guys were giving me a kickback, but every single sales rep program is willing to give you a kickback. So it's not like I chose them because they were giving me the most money. It was I chose the best program and I came to them. I was like, hey, I'm willing to bring people to your program if you give me a kickback. And they were like, sure, I'll give you a referral fee. Anyway, I set this program like 100 different people, and nobody came even close to signing up for the program. And so like now I'm just like, I don't even want to answer the question. I don't even want to give you the full answer, because what I think happens is people say they want to travel around the world. People really feel it in their bones that they want to do it. And then the first discomfort, the first problem arises, and they like, no, I'm done. Like I'm out of this, right? And like here's the thing, right? So if you want a job as a remote sales rep, you're going to have to pay somebody to train you to do it. That's just the truth. Unless you already have a job as a sales rep, and if you already have a job as a sales rep, then you don't need my help finding a job. So if you are asking for my help, like would you do it in a consultation call? No, I can't. So here's why, right? Is that okay? So the most important thing, and by the way, if people aren't interested in this, like let me know. I can just send this guy a private message. But like the most important thing when it comes to a sales career is that first job. And the reason why is because if you want a second job, you need to point to good sales from your first job. But if you don't have those good sales from your first job, you can't get that second job. So what a lot of people have happen is they get a first job, the first job sucks, and they can't leave it because no one wants to hire them because they're not selling in the first job. But they're like, hey, nobody's selling my first job. But they're like, it doesn't matter. It could be their fault or it could be your fault, but it's somebody's fault and we don't want to risk it, right? So it's very difficult to get a good sales job if you haven't already had a good sales job, right? And so because of that, like you need to get that very good first sales job, right? And so the problem, if you have no experience, is like, how do you get that first sales job? Well, you need somebody to vouch for you that you are able to do that job. And how do you do that? You go to a program, and the program teaches you. They train you how to do it, and then they go to their network. And all of these sales training programs have their own networks of offers, and they go to them and they say, this guy has our stamp of approval. He has completed this course. He knows how to do this. We are approving him. Hire him. Right. And that's fundamentally why you need to sign up for a sales course. And what I find funny is that there are people, like pretty much everybody nowadays. So the sales program, the one that I refer people to, costs about $8,000. There's some sales programs that cost $15,000. There's some sales programs that cost $20,000. This one was cheap. And then another benefit of this sales program is that they pair you with low cost offers. So one of the big problems that happens is that a person finishes a sales program and then they're like, okay, I know how to sell. Let me try to sell $100,000 deals. And $100,000 deals are very difficult to sell. And if you never sold anything before, you don't know how to sell those deals. And so you don't know if you're fucking up the deals or if the deals just aren't good or all this other stuff, right? So what you need when you first get into sales is a high velocity sales job, right? Where you're just doing deal after deal after deal. You're doing 10 closes a day. And that way you can really hone your craft and learn how to sell well, right? And so what these guys do is they pair you with people who have high velocity deals, right? Where you're making $10,000 a month, not an insane amount of money, but also not a bad amount of money, fully remote within 1 or 2 months after you finish the course, right? But that way you can spend a year grinding, really learning, really honing your sales craft. And then you can go to your next job and say, hey, I just sold, I just made $120,000 in commission the past year, straight commish, hire me for your bigger offer. And that's the way you need to progress. And that's what they do. A lot of other programs are like, hey, we're going to take this guy who doesn't know how to sell and we're going to put him in a course where his OTE is 30 grand a month. Well, I'm sorry. If your OTE is 30 grand a month and you have just started selling, you're not going to be able to do that. It's impossible. Anyway, that's my little sales spiel. So I think the program is good. I think the program is great. They're very flexible. I've tried to refer people to help them and also for me to make a little bit of money also, to be honest. Nobody has wanted to do it. So I've just stopped talking about it. I've stopped answering the questions about it in general. I usually just say F off, but this time I just felt like answering it. Anyway, let's go to this chat and answer some of your questions. I appreciate you guys allowing me to go on a little bit of a rant. Oh, cool. We don't even have any questions. Do you know how to gringos like to approach? I mean, saw Q1 once and he was staring, but I don't know. I don't know what that means. If a person is 55% European and 45% European, would you consider that person a white Latino? I don't know. Wait, you mean 55% European and 45% indigenous? I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest. To be honest, I don't even really I literally make those videos. I made those videos because they were incredibly popular and people really love them, and I really wanted to be able to, grow my account and stuff. But the thing that made me fascinated about those videos, that made me want to make those videos, is that I find demographics to be really interesting. And I thought if I were to just talk about demographic breakdowns of Brazil, no one would be interested in it. So let me just phrase this in the form of how to pick up different types of chicks in Brazil. And it worked. But you shouldn't really be looking for like a white Latino or a black Latino or like a Pardo or a Misto or whatever. Just look for the person that you want to marry and that you want to love and you want to be around for the rest of your life. That's the most important thing, right? And sometimes that person is exactly aesthetically what you want, and sometimes that person is not, and you get surprised. But I think this whole culture that we have in America of being so obsessed with that is not very healthy, and it's not really conducive to happiness. Do you think I can find a good girl in Miami? No, you can't find a good girl in Miami. Miami is the worst place to find a good girl. Miami and Medellin are the two worst places to go find a good girl. What are you talking about? Can I find a good girl in Miami? Is hey, can I find a good nightclub in Salt Lake City, Utah? It's that's literally can I find a good beach in Montana? No. I mean, maybe there's one or two, but that's not what Montana is for. Montana is not for beaches. Can't stay. Here are some likes. Discount Iceman. I always appreciate you liking my videos, you like my shit. I really appreciate it. Life of a digital nomad seems like a dream. It's pretty dope, man. I honestly have been so happy. Um, you have plans to take your wife back to the United States? No. I mean, like a lot of people are like, do the whole like you should be afraid that she's going to leave you when she gets a green card. Like my wife is like one of the most emotionally clingy people on planet Earth, and I like that. So like, it's really hard for me to see that happening. But no, I just don't want to live in the United States, man. It's just not, it's expensive, and people are constantly yelling at each other about shit. You know what I mean? There's this constant over politicization and anger on a daily basis. And I do it on like social media. Like I obviously talk about like feminism and stuff on my account, but like on a day to day basis, I just don't like being lectured. You know what I mean? I don't like having to talk about politics in every, encounter. And you have to talk about politics even when you're not talking about politics in America, you have to talk about politics. You know what I mean? You have to talk about politics in work when you take a DEI seminar or when you do all this type of bullshit, right? It's just it's just such you have to deal with so much bullshit in America. I just don't like the only way that I would probably move back to the United States, and I can see this happening, is like me and my wife, like especially if I do this on like full time, like me and my wife buying like a ranch in Wyoming or something, and just like living far away from civilization. That's like the only real option. As a woman, I saw a gringo in Miraflores. I think he was interested too, but didn't know how to approach him. Um, if you see a gringo, if you see somebody who you know is a gringo, just like honestly, just go up to him and say, "Hey, Poppy," you know what I mean? Like he'll love it. Miranda followed the live creator. Oh, thanks, Miranda. Do American girls only care about money? I mean, kind of. I mean, obviously you can't paint any group of people with like, a broad brush like that, but I think generally speaking, American women, the way that people view dating in America, I say this a lot, is the same way that like an NFL scout views like a wide receiver. You know what I mean? It's just like a series of statistics that you just like that you just like put together an algorithm and you decide somebody's worth, and like you try to get the highest worth person that you can. And I just think it's a very pernicious way to view life. Should I sleep with a lot of women or find one woman to settle down with? That's a good question. I mean, I think, me personally, like what I think is the best solution is what I did, which is, I spent a year traveling around, sleeping with a lot of different women, everywhere I went. And then I found a really good girl and I settled down with her, and now I'm married. And because I spent that year traveling around the world, sleeping with a lot of women, I have no inclination to ever cheat on my wife because in my mind, just like I already did that. I don't really care. You know what I mean? I have all the stories. I did all the things. I'm not interested. Um, and that's also like I spent a few years in San Francisco partying and doing a lot of drugs, and because of that, I have no inclination to never party or do drugs again because I'm like I've already did it. You know what I mean? So that's my feeling about it. But if you're somebody who's just like, because I feel like one of the problems we have in America right now is that like you feel the social pressure to go sleep with a lot of women. Like you feel like if you only slept with one woman, you're a pussy or something. And I don't think that's true at all. I think that if you're like, hey man, like I just am ready to find the one, like you should do that. You know what I mean? You should not, if sleeping with a lot of women is not something that you want and you feel socially pressured to do it, you shouldn't do it. You should go around the world and just say, hey, I'm looking for the one. As you make it a lot easier for you to find the one if you have that attitude. So, um, you're my hero, bro. Shout out from LA. Yo, thanks, man. Where in LA are you? I was living in Echo Park for 3 years. Um, if I'm your hero, by the way, sorry to emotionally manipulate you, but if I'm your hero, I feel like you could buy my book, right? I feel like if I'm your hero, 9.99 for a book about your hero seems like a steal, to be honest. I should charge you like $30. Um, should I settle or keep looking? Don't look for your wife in Medellin. You know what I mean? Just like don't do that. That's not a solution. That's not the place to be looking for a wife. It's just like you shouldn't be looking for a wife in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't like go to Sapphire in Las Vegas and being like, I'm looking for the next Mrs. You know what I mean? Like you're not that's not the location for it. You should go somewhere else in Latin America and find a girl that doesn't have 2 kids. I'm looking, but I'm shy. I don't know. The gringo would think I'm easy. I mean, in that case, like it's really difficult, I guess, to I have no idea how to like pick up men because I am a man. Shout out to SF. Yeah, man. Shout out to SF. I'm a true believer that girls have more family values in South America. Yeah, dude. I mean, you should go to other cities in South America if you're looking for like a girl to settle down with. The U.S. girls are aware of the fact that it's impossible for every guy to be rich, or so they brainwash. No, girls in the United States have no conception of money. That's their problem. Is that like they will say, "I need a guy who makes like $400,000 a year," and they have no conception of what that means, like how difficult it is to get $400,000 a year. You know what I mean? Done with hookups really give me no satisfaction. Yeah, dude. I mean, if you that's the thing is that like for me I got to that exact place where I was like I'm done with this. I'm bored. I want to actually find my wife. And when you're in that place, I like buy my book How to Find a Latina Wife. That's the perfect time for you to go and like find a good girl that you can settle down with. Because it's difficult. I hate this shit. TikTok does this thing where like if I don't touch the screen every minute, it'll like think that like I've like, stopped talking. And I'm like, can't you just tell this with like, my audio that I'm still doing this? How old are you two? I'm 34. I should know that easier, but I'm 34 and she's 27. I'm in Downey, California, close to OC. Yeah, I know where you're at, dude. That's a good area. It's a lot of effort to assimilate into the culture, speak the language, and learn the norms. Yeah, dude. I mean, not really, honestly. Not really. It's pretty easy. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that honestly. It's pretty easy. Learning the language is a little difficult. Just like download Duolingo and like be intense about it for like 2 or 3 months. You'll get the basics, and then once you know the basics, you can go to Latin America and just learn by talking to people. But yeah, no, it's not. It's not that difficult to assimilate into the culture. You'll meet a girl, you'll fall in love with her, and like it'll come naturally. When are you going to put a baby in her to become a dad? It's a little bit of a sore subject. We've been trying for like 5 months now, and like we're having some issues conceiving as of now. So I know you didn't know that before you're asking, but it's a touchy subject in our household. That's the reason why we're both eating healthy. Because I need healthy because I've been eating like shit the past 10 months. But she has some. So she's actually really skinny. You can actually see in this photo over here in my book that all of you should buy. She's very skinny, but the problem is that she's too skinny, and she's too skinny, and she eats like a fat person. So if she was skinny and ate healthily, she wouldn't have any issues, and if she was fat, she wouldn't have any issues. But the problem is, anyway, it's a whole thing. So that's why we're both eating healthily. Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro for New Year's Eve? Rio de Janeiro. Heck yeah, bro! I'm getting your book. I appreciate that. You won't find a wife in Pattaya and Medellin. 100% these are places for sex. Yeah, 100%. These are you need to. I think that this is an important. This is something that I had to like drill into my wife in like a different version, where she was like we were in Poland, right, and we were like buying blueberries every day because Poland has great blueberries, and then we were in Indonesia, and she was looking for blueberries. I was like, blueberries are very expensive here, and they're shitty. Like we are world travelers. We are the jet setters. I'm just being facetious, but like you buy blueberries in Poland, you buy mangoes in Indonesia. You don't buy mangoes in Poland and you don't buy blueberries in Indonesia because they're going to be overly expensive and they're going to be shitty. And that's the same thing that you're talking about with Pattaya and Medellin. You don't look for hoes in, Cordoba or in La Paz, and you don't look for good girls in Medellin. You recognize where you are and you look for the thing that's there. I think that analogy makes sense, right? One's in the chat if you think that makes sense. I'm gonna start saying one's in the chat more. I like that. One's in the chat if that makes sense. Well, two's in the chat if you're gonna buy some blueberries in Indonesia. One's in the chat if you realize that that's a stupid thing to do. All the good girls are religious, but I'm not religious. That's actually funny. So like I actually, by the way, I talk about this in my book, How to Find Your Latina Wife. But so before I started traveling, I wasn't religious at all. But actually, traveling has made me very religious. And I think so. There's this, I'm not going to preach for a long time. I'm going to preach a little bit. But there's this quote from Jesus where he talks about how you can recognize people by their fruits, right? Like a good tree gives good fruits, a bad tree gives bad fruits, right? And one thing when you start traveling and you realize you live in Latin culture that is deeply religious, and you see the positive fruits of this deeper religious culture, and then you compare it to the secular culture that we have back in America, where even the religious people I think are fundamentally secular, but that's a whole different conversation. And you realize you're like, I don't know, like maybe there's God, maybe there's not, but these guys seem to know something and seem to have stuff figured out. And as I said, in America, you're constantly lectured about politics. You're constantly engaging in political discourse, which secular progressivism in America, I would argue, is its own religion. So you have two choices. You can be in America where you have to be at church everywhere. You have to be at church when you're watching football and you're lectured about past racial injustices. You have to be at church when you're at work and you're lectured about past racial and gender injustices. You're constantly being lectured, right? That's church. Or you can be Latin America where you go to church for an hour every weekend, an hour on Sunday, and the rest of your time you get for yourself. It's my 2 cents. It's my 2 cents about it. Pal, I tried to have a kid with my girlfriend 4 years straight. Did not work. She left, but don't give up. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm really sad to hear that, but I appreciate you sharing that. We're gonna keep on keeping on. We came up with the name of our daughter on our like third date. So we are really dedicated to having kids, and hopefully we'll be able to at some point. Right now, I view it as like God telling us that we're not ready yet. You know what I mean? And like I'm just focusing on getting our finances together. You look 25. Thanks, man. I've always looked like 10 years younger. All buddies got married with LA girls. They're now betas. It's about balance, but with social value, with old school values. Yeah, dude. I have so many friends in America, man, who are like cucks. And it's sad for me to say this because these are guys who like are better looking than me, make more money than me, and are in better shape than me, and they're cucks. I'm here, you guys were on this live, and my wife came in with the food that she made for me, the dinner that she made for me, trying to make me healthy, but in a loving way. Like she cooks, she cleans, she does all that type of shit. She does the shit around the house. And I have friends who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and their wife has like a bullshit, daycare job where they're making like $60,000 a year, and they're getting lectured by their wife constantly. And it's just like, I don't see the point of it. Chris is gonna have a mango in Bali. That's the spirit, bro. Don't get blueberries in Bali. Just don't do that. What's my job, amigo? I'm a remote sales rep. My girl coworkers, they hate cooking. Yeah, dude. I mean, I gotta say this. Like, I'm gonna give a little bit of a defense of feminism, not a big defense, but a little bit of a defense. In that, like, I think that one of the problems that we have as men is I think that we need to frame it differently, right? Where I think that you have a lot of red pillars, a lot of misogynists who are like coming at women and saying that like you should stay in the house because you're incompetent and stupid. And I don't think that that's a very productive way to have a conversation with women. And it's definitely not a productive way to like convince them of anything, right? Is to say that like you shouldn't work because you're too stupid to work, right? For me, my girl wasn't hella feminist, but she, had a little bit of the stuff in her brain. And like what I told her, I was like, look, the reason why I want you to stay at home with the kids isn't because you're not capable of having a job. It's because your job and my job are not nearly as important as raising a family. Raising a family is the most important thing. The job is stupid. The job is just time that we exchange for money. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't matter. What matters is our family. And I think that if guys start framing it in that way, that not out of the sense um of being patronizing towards women, but of a sense of this is actually the most important job is being a mother. Like you could be president of the United States and that would not be as important as you being a mother. And not because you wouldn't be a good president of the United States, but because being a mother is that important. I think that we get a lot further in the argument and be able to start pushing back against feminism. But I forgot what I was going on. Yeah, feminism is getting more popular in Latin America. It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. But it's hard to reason with women. I mean, dude, you don't have to convince me of that. I know it's tough. It's difficult. But that's why you make the emotional appeal. That's why you frame it in that way. That's why you frame it out of a sense of respect. Because you have to realize that they're not making a logical argument. They're making an emotional argument. Their argument is coming out of a sense of being slighted and disrespected by you for saying that they can't have a job. And what you need to do is not to have a logical argument with them because it's impossible, but instead to flip that emotion and say, no, the reason why I want you to stay home is because of a deep admiration that I have for you. Yeah, the feminism is going far. But yeah, guys, so it's 6 p.m. right now. I had a lot of fun, guys. This was a great live. I'll be doing these lives literally every day from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. I'm not sure what the Sunday and Saturday schedule is going to be like, probably around like noon, both days. But I really appreciate all of you joining. I appreciate, the people on TikTok asking all the questions. I appreciate that we're getting more YouTube viewers as well. That's amazing. I'll be back tomorrow at 5, but right now it's 8 p.m. Paraguay time. I got to eat my dinner. And then me and my wife, we have a tradition of me and her watching a movie before going to sleep. We need to have like our couple times. So I appreciate all of you. Appreciate you, Valencia Vibes. One last thing, if you guys can buy the book, How to Find Your Latina Wife. It's in my bio of my TikTok. And I appreciate all of you. Talk to you all tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Why can't I end this? Okay.